Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Music and Mixing. I'm DJ Michael Joseph, your host, and this show is about the mix DJ and different things that the mix DJ does, techniques and different things like that. My camera's a little wonky there, so let me see if I can level it out before we get started. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. But we talk about a lot of different stuff. Those who have joined me recently have known that I've changed a few things to where I now have a pattern that I'm going to try to follow each month, where the first Wednesday of the month is going to be an interview. The second Wednesday of the month is going to be on Twitch. We're going to do a special show on Twitch only the second Wednesday of every month, and it's going to cover music, and it's going to be me showing about whether it be mixing stuff or versions I have or answering questions about music. But over there on Twitch, we can actually play this stuff without the show being shut down like right in the middle. So if we started playing music on YouTube, which is, depending on where you're watching, YouTube's one of the main places we go to, or Facebook, halfway through the show, if we're playing music, it can get shut down. But over at Twitch, we can get through the whole show and play the music. So that's the second Wednesday of the month. Third Wednesday of the month is this. It's topic night, where I come up with a topic, talk about it, answer questions, stuff like that. And the last Wednesday of the month, which is next week, is open question night. It's about absolutely anything you want to ask about. It doesn't even matter. So that's what this is all going to be about over the next few weeks. Like I said, tonight is topic night, and our topic is going to be about controller sizes, and we'll get into that. If you have never seen the show before, we always take a few minutes at the top of the hour and check out and see who's in the chat, say hello to people. I'd like to see where everybody's at, because this show, we tend to pull a lot of people from all over the world, and I like to just to kind of say hello to people wherever they're from around the world. So if you're in the chat, feel free to shout out where you are from, where you're watching from tonight, all that kind of stuff. I do have some good pictures to show tonight. Let me know if my volume is too loud or anything. I saw it drop up into the red a couple times, but let me know if that's good. But you're in the chat, just say hello, see what's going on. I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. Like I said, it's going to be a really good show. I got a lot of good stuff going on. Where is the chat? There's the chat. Lost the chat. So yeah, if also, like I said, the first of the month is going to be about interview. I'm going to interview someone. This past month we did the first of the month we did my friend John Holman from Metro Mix. Some really good stuff about the early days of software in the DJ software and when it began and stuff like that. As we continue, if there is someone you'd like to see me interview, let me know. There's probably a good chance I can get them on the show, unless there's someone giant. But for the most part, I think I could probably get a lot of people to come on the show. Boston, what's going on? Orlando. All right. Ohio. Yeah, Youngstown. What's going on? Nice to see everybody in here in the chat. We're going to get some more people tuning in soon, I'm sure. Another Orlando. Awesome. We just, about at the beginning of the month, like I said, we made some changes, and we went from 10 p.m. to 9 p.m., and I don't know how much that threw people off or if it made it better. I kind of like the 9 p.m. thing better. I know it's, for anybody watching like on the West Coast or that direction in time zones, it's a little early for you. The 10 p.m. I think fit those people a little bit better, but you can watch on demand or whatever. But say hello in the chat if you're there. Let me see where you're at there. John is from Boston. We got a couple Bostons, a couple Orlandos, and one Ohio. See if we can get a match on that Ohio. But no, normally we have people we've had in this show. We've had from New Zealand, Australia, UK. What was the one from? Was it Ukraine, Canada, Mexico City, Florida? That's a foreign country to some people. Kidding, just a joke. But yeah, definitely if you're in the chat, say hello. Like I said, I think we got some good stuff tonight. I'm going to talk about different controller sizes and what you need to look for and what's important for you or for anybody really when it comes to this stuff. I've got a lot of comparison pictures. Not a lot, a few comparison pictures to talk about sizes. And it might get you a little bit idea of what you use, if you've seen your controller next to another one. And we're going to take a look at some stuff like that and kind of see what is beneficial of big ones, beneficial of little ones, why people like certain ones over other ones, stuff like that. We got another Ohio person there. Oh, no, that's that one there. Sorry. But definitely, let me know what's going on. We have a few people watching. I don't know where we have everybody watching from tonight. I know I'm going to try to watch Restream and see who we have over there. We're broadcasting to 7 of 8 places. It's not hitting my Facebook page tonight for some reason, so I'll maybe post that later or something like that. But that's the only place we're not going to is my personal Facebook page, which I'd like to get that there, but I would have to flip 10 switches to get it there, and I'm not going to even try that tonight. So wait for everybody to come into the chat, and then we'll start the show talking about answering questions, whatever you guys want to do tonight. I'm kind of excited about this one because it's something that I have done the gambit of sizes of things when it comes to controller sizes, and I just found another picture to share with you guys. That's freaking awesome. I forgot I had saved that one from the other day. Let me know, like I said, before we start here, like I said, we always take a few minutes to welcome everybody. I want to know, before I start talking about tonight, who you would like to maybe see me interview, if there's anybody like that. Like I said, once a month we're going to do a topic night, so if there's a topic you want me to cover, let me know. Let me know if you tuned in last week to the Twitch-only show for the music, if you like that, if we do more of those, if you thought it was stupid, all that kind of stuff. I definitely want some feedback from you guys, because that's what I'm trying to do, and I thought this little format of changing things every week would give us a chance to stay fresh, a lot of new ideas, and cover a whole lot more than just music and mixing, because to me that covers a lot, in my opinion, way more than a lot of the stuff that we have covered in the past. So I'm going to do that there. So anybody else in the chat? Anybody else want to shout out before we move on? We're all over the place tonight. We're on 8 different places tonight. So appreciate you guys. We're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 YouTube channels. We're on Twitch tonight too. I don't know if I'm going to be picking up the chat from Twitch for the Disc Jockey News channel. So if I'm missing that there, you can join me over on Facebook. I'm not sorry, Facebook, but youtube.com/Disc Jockey News. I may try to bring up the Twitch page and see if the chat's coming in there. I'm not sure, but definitely everybody out on Facebook. How's it going? I see a bunch of people watching Facebook, a bunch of people watching from YouTube. Several different Facebook pages actually. So hello to all of you. Appreciate everybody. Howie Darkstar, what's going on? State of Zen said definitely keep the Twitch show. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it has merit. I think last week was just we're just trying, so it became something that I didn't know what to really do because it was so different. But I definitely want to do that. So I think we got everybody here for the most part. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about some stuff. Let me move some screens around so that I'm able to share better. There we go. So I have the chat still open. Cool. All right. So what brought me to this topic was the fact that I own, let me grab it. It's actually here on the floor. All right. So I own the Hercules DJ Starlight Control. And I bought it as kind of like a thing to use in the studio while I'm setting songs up. It gives me an actual tactile platter to move around. It is a touch platter, so you can scratch, or if you nudge the edge, it works like nudge. And that's kind of why I wanted this, so I'm able to do that. But I also shown that I can mix on a lot of different things with this, including, see if I can grab it here. It's underneath 12 other things. I have a very small Windows book called the Surface Go, and it's basically like a tablet, but it is a Windows computer full out. And I have hooked that thing up to this and was able to DJ with nothing because this has Wi-Fi, and I can get in a Wi-Fi spot and take songs from the streaming services in virtual, hooked up to that, and I can DJ from nothing and broadcast, with the little screen, the camera there. And it leaves me a lot of options for stuff, and I'm going to try to do some really out there kind of mixes this summer, different places. But like I said, when I was doing this one, I did a 2-hour set a few weeks ago on Twitch with it. Hold on. There we go. And I was like, well, that worked. And again, one of the reasons why I bought that is I bought it so that I could have a backup in the future, so that something small to carry with me. So if my controller did crash and I had to finish a night, I now know that I can finish a whole night with that thing for real, like for real. And if you want to join me after this show tonight, 10 p.m. on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DJ Michael Joseph, I'm going to do another 2-hour set from that right here on the desk. I call it Decks on the Desk, and literally it's my laptop and that thing, and I'm going to do a 2-hour set from that. Video mixing and everything, and you guys can see it. I'm going to have the overhead cam so you can see what I'm doing on that. But it's just to show that these things are possible. No matter what size of controller you use, you can switch some stuff out and do more if you're a little bit creative, is all you kind of have to do. So I'm going to first start out tonight, but I want to show some different sizes of controllers and kind of give you a view of what they are and what I call them, being small, medium, large, extra large, all that kind of stuff. So we can kind of get a comparison. I don't have all the comparisons, but I think I have enough here to kind of get you your mindset of what is different and what you can use, what you have. And there's so many in between the ones that I'm going to show you tonight. So just keep that in mind. So let me grab the left screen. Yay, there I am on the left screen. Okay, so these two, starting out, is the MC7000, which is the one you see me mix with all the time, and then the DJ Starlight to Go by Hercules on the bottom. That's the one I will be doing the show with. So you can see there is a massive size difference, but I still do basically the same things. I have effects, I have cue points, I have loops set up in there, I have jump forward, jump back, beat jump kind of stuff. So it lets me do pretty much everything that I do on any other controller, but it is 2-channel, and it is a little bit less on certain things. You don't have everything there wide open. It only has 4 pads at a time, hot pads to whatever you end up having them on, but it still basically does the same thing, and you can see the giant difference between that. So let me go to the next one. Is that the next one? Yeah. All right, so this one was brought up, and I kind of liked this. It was a good comparison. The brand new Rain 1, which is a motorized controller, which I do plan on getting that. I like it. I like motorized platters. The top one is the NS7 III, and I have owned that before, and I like it. So, did I lose that? I lost the... hold on here. I got to make sure I have the file names so that I'm able to quote you the right file names on some of these, so that in case I missed them in the there we go. All right, so yeah, so that's those two in comparison, because I think those are 2 motorized platter controllers, and you can see the little size difference there. I loved the NS7, the one on the top, but it was freaking heavy. The bottom one's still 23 and a half, 24 pounds, give or take, compared to, I think it was 31 or 32 for the top one, and that's minus the dashboard the add-on dashboard that they have. So that can give you a little size difference there. I think that's kind of cool. And we'll move on to the next one. Oops, I need to go over here and go over here. Not zoom in. All right, so these two are make sure I get the right ones here. This is the DDJ 1000, and I'm not sure if that's the SRT or the regular one. I can't see it there. That's the regular, but it's the same size as the 1000. So that's the 1000 in the Pioneer Nexus system NXX2. So that gives you a little size comparison of those two. There's a lot of weight difference, obviously, because the bottom one is 3 pieces, and that's something that we're going to talk about tonight. That do you want 3 pieces? Do you want 1 piece? That sort of thing, and that gives you an option there on that one. Next one is the DXRX2. Did I say that right? It's RX2. It's Pioneer's RX2 and the Prime 4. And you can see a little size comparison there. Screen-wise, buttons, platters, all that kind of stuff. Kind of give you a view of how all that is. The next two are the new FLX6 was the one that was just released by Pioneer. That's on the top. And the bottom is the SR2. You can see the size difference, but a thing to point out here is the larger platters on the top one, for the FLX6, that is a trend that's coming your way, is larger platters. Also, if you've seen any of the new controllers, like the Rain, let's go back here to the Rain, you can see right here they have the 2 paddles, the effects paddles. You're going to start seeing those on more controllers also. So larger platters and the paddles for that. But it's just giving you a size comparison to those two. The next two is the Prime 4 and the Prime Go. I have had the Prime 4 here in the studio. I've never got to try the Prime Go, but they are intended for two different things. The Prime Go is for like setting up tracks, doing some practicing. It has its own battery that will run on its own, so that you can set things up, set your thumb drives up and whatnot, and put them in the Prime 4. That's kind of what that hole is designed about. So you can see the difference there. These two are the SB and the SZ. Pioneer's SB and SZ, which a lot of people kind of think they're close to the same, but I picked this to show that they are a little bit different. They're not quite the same there. There's a size difference there. And the next two that is the NS7 III and the SZ by Pioneer, showing how big. A lot of people know how big the NS7 is, and that's the SZ compared to that. And trust me, it's a beast too, especially if you have it in some type of case. It is absolutely brutal to carry around. And this one here is the last one. Like I said, I found this one as we're talking. This was the Vestex Typhoon, and they had another one that worked with just Mac. This one worked with Windows, that with Mac. And this one came up in my Facebook memories, but I know where this was at, but I don't know why I was using that tiny controller there. I have no idea why I had that hooked up, because that's not what I normally DJ with. I just had that as a backup back then, and I did like that controller for an small emergency backup. But that's to show that that's a small one too that you can have in it. And I think that's all of them. Yeah. So we'll go back over here, and there we are back to here. So that just kind of shows you a size difference of all of them, and I think that it's important to look at those. Because you're going to have to figure out what you want. I have a list here of things that I think are important when it comes to looking for these things. What I call geography and layout, but that probably shouldn't be first. Size should be first. You have to think about this. The 7000 that I showed, I called that a full-size controller. We're just going to leave it at that. That's kind of a normal full-size controller. I would put the Pioneer 1000 in with that. I would put the Rain 1 in with that. Maybe the Newmark the Newmark NS7, but I kind of call that a large controller. And then like the SZ, or that other one, the SX, whatever, I would call those an extra large controller. The little DJ Starlight Control, I would call that a micro controller. And then they have small and medium ones like the SZ. Those I would consider those medium. And the Vestex one that I showed at the end, I would consider that small. So you're kind of getting a size difference there amongst all of those to kind of see. So I think size difference, and we're going to talk about why size is important, and is it important for you? For some people it is, some people it isn't. My first one on the list is geography. And geography basically means where the stuff's laid out, the workflow of the actual physical things you will be touching. If it's small, people with fat hands like me or big hands, I'm not very tall at all. I'm not, but I literally can palm a basketball. I have big hands. So me grabbing those little knobs is difficult. It's not as precise. So that's why I like the full-size controller and the bigger platters that we're going to now in the future. With the Rain 1 and whatnot, it has the full-size platters. The MC4000, I would call that a small controller, small to medium. Anywhere in there, you might even call it a medium. I wouldn't call it a small. I would say it's a medium because, like I said, the small would be like the Vestex, and the 4000 is definitely bigger than the Vestex. So I would definitely put that in the medium range right there. But the layout, so do you need more room to work? Like, I'm one of those people that believe to mix comfortably. When I talk about mixing, I'm talking about using the platters. The center of the platter shouldn't be any closer than like your shoulders or darn close to there, because that becomes a natural thing. But if you go closer, you're doing this with your hands or going in like this, because the proper ergonomic mix position is hands down, arms at 45 of that. That's the perfect mix setup that you want for that. So the geography of where it's at, wide together, all the knobs. One of the thing about the Prime 4, and I will go back to that right now because I think this is important to talk about. Let me go back to the Prime 4. Is it the Prime 4? No, it's not the Prime 4. It is the 1800 mixer by Denon. Right next to the crossfader, they have little switches there for switching it, the crossfader to go right, this channel left, that sort of thing. But for me, they're right in the way of scratching, and I hit them all the time. So to me, I look at that and go, that's bad geography for what I do. For someone else, that wouldn't matter at all. So the layout and the geography, once you kind of figure you want to carry something, do you not want to carry, because that's next on my list is portability. What do you need to be portable? Because a large controller like the 7000 or the 1000 full-size controller like the 7000 or the 1000 is much smaller than like using two Rain 12s and a Rain 72 or two 1200s and an S9 or an S11 mixer. It's much bigger. So are you okay with carrying two turntables and a large mixer out places? Because I know people, everywhere they go, they take that in three big honking cases everywhere they go. I don't want to carry that much, but it's just my thing. But the layout, the portability, how easily you want to move places, because I need to get in and out of places a lot. I would say, someone in the chat just talked about the MC6000. I would call that small, but the geography is on the point, because that is one of the few controllers, that, and I think in my comparison, the Roland, the new Roland, whatever the Roland one is that they do for weddings, what is it called? The Roland 707. Yeah, that was it. And both of those, to me, have a lot of functionality in a tight, compact thing. Because the Denon one, like I said, the 6000, you have 2 mics, you have 4 channels. The only thing it's missing, in my opinion, is I like 8 hotkey pads. It only has 4. So, I mean, you can shift them and do 2 layers, but that's the only thing with that I would do that. But I definitely call, yes, thank you, Joe, appreciate that, the 707. But both of those are small controllers that have a lot. So again, that's something you could think about, that if you don't need the platters, because there are guys that just don't use the platters. And if that's not it, then you don't need to get a controller that has big platters. I heard somebody talking about the Rain 1 with the motorized platters going, if you're not a person that uses the platters a lot, having them turn manually is not something that you need to pay extra money to have if that's not something you use all the time. I like them. It's going to be tough for me to get back to them, so I'm going to have to do a little practice getting back to the motorized platters. I used to, like I said, I had them and I liked them. Next after that is features, which we talked about with the 7000 and the 6000 and the 707, is the amount of channels it has, the amount of mic hookups it has. Do you have a high, low, mid for each mic? That sort of stuff. Features, are those important to you when you're looking at this? Obviously, you're going to get a lot more of that on a big controller compared to a small controller. So that's something you have to think about right there. Features that you need. And again, I talk about the channels. Do you need 4 or 2? My 7000 has 4. The Rain 1 has 2, and I never really mix with more than 2 very often. Like, rarely do I use the other 2 channels for mixing. But because the way virtual works and has the stem adjustments, I can use the high, low, mid on the outer 2 channels to control the stems for the inner 2 channels. So I have the top one that's either all vocal or all music, and I don't have to switch to something else. I just reach down to the high knob on deck 4, and I can adjust deck 2's music from deck 4. So I think I'm going to miss that going to a 2 deck. If I go to the Rain 1 and be a 2 deck, I'm going to miss that. So there are little functional things like that. The amount of channels, that's where I'm going to miss the channels. Joe talks about the nudge button, plus minus nudge button. I don't use them ever. In fact, on the 7000, I remap them as beat jump, so I can jump forward, jump back, that sort of thing. But I know other people that they use them all. I have friends who DJ on turntables, like real turntables, but when they go out with their controller, they do the nudge buttons. So when they're with their turntables, I mean, they're good, really good turntable DJs with Serato DBS system, but when they're out with their controller at a smaller gig, they use the nudge button. So it has to be what you want there. NAS4. Explain that, Joe. Just make sure I know what you're going there. This is another thing that's really important, and it's surprising me where we're going with this, is the amount of in-out connections. Like, how many mics do you have? How many extra channels do you have? Do you have a booth out on that? Do you have an auxiliary in? Stuff like that, where you are limited with certain ones with what you have. A lot of the medium-sized pioneers, they share the mic channel with one of the other channels. So you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, but you might share that volume on channel 3 with the mic. So it's both channel 3 and the mic, depending on which way you have that flipped. So they do channel sharing on a lot of that, so that's something you have to think about the inputs there. The Native Instruments S4, that's the one that does not have platters. I'll show you a picture of that if I can find that. Because that's an interesting one to look at. Excuse the tackling because I have the shotgun mic up there. It's going to hear everything. Ticky-tack of the things. And is that the one? No, that's not the one that doesn't have the platters, is it? No, that's not the one we're looking for. The one that does not have the platters, that's the one I want to show. The Tractor Control S8. There we go. Open image in new tab. There we go. So we're going to share the left screen. And that's what it looks like. That's their controller minus platters. And it does all the same stuff, has your buttons, your hotkeys, everything in there that you can imagine it has, including screens with stuff, and it controls. And these four here are effects sliders to change effects and do stuff, but there's no platter. And if you don't need a platter, that's something you might want to consider like that. And the last thing, besides the in and outs connections, because you might want certain headphone connections, you might want certain audio connections. I know with the new the S9 and S11 mixers, they have everything, but they only have one mic channel. And Jay from Pioneer, that was one of the things he asked them. He goes, "Can we put?" He says, did you guys ever consider putting 2 mic channels on there? And they're like, well, we really don't think people who use the S9 and the S11 will need 2 mics. So they didn't bother with it because you only have so much space. So if you put something in, you're going to have to take something else out. And that's kind of a mindset with a lot of that you have to be careful. What goes in, what doesn't. I like a split cue. Not all DJs use split cue, so for them to remove a split cue, that's the other thing. Going from the 7000 to the Rain 1 is that my split cue is a button on top, which is the way I split and run back and forth all night. Theirs on the Rain 1 is just a switch on the front, and I don't really like that. I might be able to work my way around it. I'm not sure. A lot of times with a lot of controllers, microphones, and headphones do not run through the software. They are hardware controlled. So when you plug your mic into your controller, most of the time it never goes through your software. It's hardware to hardware. And the same with the headphone. That's why the split cue and the different thing works that way, is because it's never really passed through the software most of the time. Joe says platters are a carryover from turntables. It is just kind of the way that we think about mixing. You have the platter that spins, and that's just kind of what we do. So we do that. And last thing is looks, because certain people, you've seen mine, my controller, and how it's all decked out. And in my business, there is a one-upmanship on things, and everybody that I DJ out with has customized everything. They have not just the back of their laptop, but the back of the laptop is done with light-up stuff, LED stuff. I haven't gone that route yet. I may. I don't know. I'm friends with the guys from Sticker Light, and they follow me on Instagram. Appreciate all their following and likes and stuff. They're a great bunch of guys. Them and I don't remember what the other company is. Ape Lighting, that both of them follow me there, and I appreciate that. But all of those are options. You want up your laptop, you want up your controller to make it look good. Your turntables, you get custom plates on there. You change the plates for special editions. I have a friend, Pat, that whenever he does like a fundraiser for breast cancer, he uses his hot pink disc plates, and then when it's St. Patrick's Day, he uses green ones, and at Christmas time he has Christmas ones, and so on and so forth. And that's part of just the one-upmanship, making things personal. So looks matter. That again is one of the reasons why I think I'm going to like the Rain 1, because those moving platters are going to be a visual that look good to people and go, hey, that looks professional, that looked cool, even though they have no idea what I'm doing, and I could be a total crap DJ. But it's all about the one-upmanship, and that's kind of what all of those are about. So those are all things that I think are important when it comes to looking at sizes. You can mix with all of them, and like I said, I'm going to show you tonight after this at 10 p.m. over on, as soon as I can get everything set up, switch out over here and set the stuff up here. But I'm going to be DJing a 2-hour set on that little tiny controller. But then next, I'm going to come back again later in the week or next week with the full size and do the full setup like you've seen me already do with the 7000. But it can be pretty much anything. And it just, if you're a good DJ, you can DJ with anything. But people talk about mixing, and a lot of people go, well, I can DJ with anything, but when they say that, I'm like, are you mixing? Not just beat matching. Are you mixing? And they're like, well, no, I just kind of fade across. That's not what I'm talking about. You don't even need a controller to do that. You just press play with a mouse button or something, or set certain keys to press play. But I'm talking about mixing. I'm going to be mixing tonight with effects and all kinds of stuff on the tiny controller. It's going to be much slower than the stuff you've seen me do, because I have to set stuff up, and like I said, it has 4 pads, so my 4 pads are my hot cue, and if I want to go to loops, I have to hit a different button to use those as loops, and a shift and a different button to bring up the effects buttons, and a shift and another different button to do the beat jump forward backwards. So it's slower steps in stuff that I'm doing with that, but I'm just going to show that you can still do it. And the fact that I did it the other night, and it made me happy, because that's a great tiny little thing to take with you as an emergency backup. I've never had a controller fail. Probably most of you have never had a controller fail, but the night that it does, and you have something that you can plug in comfortably, finish the night and collect your paycheck. Like I said, for us club and bar DJs and the mix DJs, we get our paycheck at the end of the night. So if we fail to DJ, they're immediately, I'm telling you, they will call someone else in. If you can't get your equipment going, we'll get someone here in 5 minutes, because there are people waiting to take your job no matter what you're doing. There's a line of people that want your job, that literally go there every night. I've had the boss telling me, we had 4 people stop tonight and try to get your job. I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, no. So that makes me feel good. But to have that emergency backup, so that if it crapped out, I literally have a thing that I can hook my phone in, play a mix on my phone while I get everything else set up, and I can go back to mixing and taking requests and finish the night out and collect my paycheck and not lose my job to somebody else just because maybe I had a technical thing, whatever. And that's what I think is important with that. So we're going to take some questions now from the chat room. Pardon me. Joe says channel sharing is a poor design. It's I think so too, but they did it out of somewhat necessity at a point. I'm not sure why, but the people who are comfortable with it are very comfortable with it. So that's, to each person, you got to kind of figure out what works for you. I don't like them, and I actually helped someone with MIDI mapping on one of them, and it totally screwed me over trying to MIDI map around that. So yeah, the S4 has platters. Platter needed or CDJ, that's the beauty of mixing. I'm old school, coming from the 1200s. Yeah, if you have a history in platters, then the platter is your first go-to. That's why, to me, I don't know if I could mix a night without platters. It's probably been, I know some of the early CD players and some of the clubs I had to DJ in, you had to use their equipment. So I would bring my CDs into the club and use their equipment, and a lot of theirs was just press button stuff. There was no turntable, and you had to use that. So that was the last time that I used like the nudge buttons and stuff. So if I would have to jump back on something and not have the platter to adjust things, that would mess me up. So if you're used to it, it's a great thing, but if you're not, it's a tough thing to get used to. Same with motorized and non-motorized. Some people can handle it, some people don't. Some people prefer the motorized, don't like the non-motorized. Some people don't, the other way around, the whole 9 yards. So do you think price is also a factor? Absolutely. There is a wish list and a bank list or an account list that you can afford. I'm looking at the Rain 1, but I'm looking at selling some of the equipment I have. I'm probably going to sell the 6000, one of my 7000s. I have 2 MIDI studio MIDI things that I plan on selling. I have a case for a Rain 9 or Rain 11 that I'm going to sell. I have a brand new laptop that was given to me that it hasn't been used. It's going to be sold. So I have a lot of stuff that I'm going to be selling to put towards that. And that's kind of what I do, is that I try to shift stuff over. So it's not always just dumping money out. I try to move things. So I do have the ability to move stuff over. So I plan on selling everything but one of my 7000s. Then once I get the other one going up and running, I might replace that 7000 with an NS7 so that I can have motorized platters as my main and my backup. I don't know yet. We'll kind of see how that goes. I may keep the 7000 as my backup. Why not? It's mine. It's paid for. So we'll see on that. But that's what I think. But price is a lot. Like if you can't afford something big, and you can buy a medium or small size one and still get away with DJing, some different gigs and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of the gigs that a lot of people do, you don't necessarily have to be this humongously big mixer. So having that larger, more expensive controller is not going to benefit you getting a bigger paycheck, because what you're doing, you can do with the small ones, and that's the paycheck. So unless you want to go for a bigger paycheck or a more prestigious gig, you can get away with a small or medium controller quite well. It's not necessary. So cost is a big thing. They're getting expensive. They're getting real expensive. So just keep that in mind. They're getting very expensive. Yeah, Joe's talking about, he's seen, that's why I always say, what he said in the basic thing is he's seen guys with $100 controllers rock the house, and guys with thousands of dollars equipment can't put two songs together. Back in the day, when we raced motorcycles, we used to have a thing, a couple of quotes. One of them was, "Run what you brung." And that means if you tell me you're faster than me, a racer, you're not going to say, well, you have more CCs than me, so you got to give me a head start. Well, you're the one that said you're faster than me, so you got to run what you brung. If you're faster than me on a smaller bike, you're faster than me. That's all there is to it. Or if you even keep up to me, that shows how fast you are. And the same with the equipment. You can go, well, I could beat you if I had different equipment. Well, probably not. Maybe if it was like a scratch battle type thing, yeah, you need the big things with the room to do stuff. But if it's rocking a crowd, you don't have to. Like I said, I like the 7000 because of the room it gives me to have fun and DJ. I really like it. It lets me be able to scratch and mix, blend, do all the things that I do all night, have plenty of room. I think it looks beautiful too, all that kind of stuff. So you don't need that all together there. I have the tiny DJ2Go controller and the DJ2Go Touch, and the platters make the difference. Yes, that's one of the things, like I said, about this one and the DJ2Go Touch. They're the only two of the little ones that have the touch-sensitive platters. So you touch the top of it, it's like a big controller to where you can scratch and you let go and it keeps going. And you want to nudge, you just nudge the edge. The other ones, you have to switch modes in them. So you have a nudge mode or a scratch mode. That's all you have. So that's why I said that one and the DJ2Go Touch, DJ2Go 2 Touch have that. And it makes a big difference, I think. Someone talks about faders. That's another thing when it comes to features. Do you want a really nice fader? Do you want to at least be able to put a nice fader in? Because a lot of them, to get a fader in there, you have to tear so much apart. With my 7000, it's just 2 screws and a plate, and it's right there. Other ones, you have to tear out a lot. The new Rain 1 comes with a, what is it? Is it a Magvel? It's not a Magvel. It's another one. Because it comes with one that's replaceable and adjustable. So that's a big thing. So to me, those are important things. To someone else, whatever the crossfader is, it is. Going down through the questions here. What are your thoughts on the new Mark DJ2Go Touch? I just picked up one to mess around with. Like I said, it is basically the same as this, more or less. A few buttons different, the same size. Like I said, it does have the touch platters that work touch or nudge. So if you're nudging, you have the two different things on the one platter. I don't have to switch modes. So it's basically the same as this. And like I said, after tonight on the show, 10 o'clock on twitch.tv/DJ Michael Joseph, I'm going to do a 2-hour set on that. So I probably won't do any scratching. I might at one point do it just to see if I can. It's really hard to scratch on. I mean, to me, I can do some baby scratch stuff, but to do, a fader and stuff, that fader's there's a lot of stuff there to hit. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I've tried. It's not pretty, but it's about just showing what you can do with that. So I think it's like I said, I got this for doing setting up in the studio. So when I download new songs and I set cue points, it gives me tactile things to move forward and set a cue point, and then move to the next one or move backwards, set a second cue point, stuff like that. It just, instead of trying to do it with the mouse the whole way, I have this. I can get the track close to where I want it, and then nudge, 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 set a point. And that's kind of the reason why I got this. It works for that, but like I said, something this size to be able to take with you as a backup, yeah, I'll do that for sure. Going down the questions here. You better do more classes to pay for that new controller. For those of you who don't know, I do teach DJ classes, and he said I have to do more classes to pay for the controller. You're not kidding. That's for sure. The new controller, it's out of the box at $14. Over President's Day, Guitar Center had it for $12.99. I know I can get it lower because I actually teach classes for Guitar Center, so I get the employee discount. But right now, that's a funny thing. It's such a new product that my employee discount doesn't qualify. That product doesn't qualify for my employee discount. So right now, if I were to buy it, I have to pay full price. So I'm waiting until it comes on the list with the other stuff, and then I get my employee discount. And because like I said, I really think I want it. I like it. I've had the 7000 for 4 years now, and that's a long time for me in a controller. Normally it's about 2 years and switching out to something new, bigger, better, whatever. But the 7000 just checked a lot of boxes for me when I got it, so that's kind of why I've stuck with it. It's solid. I like it. It works. I have 1200 NS7, waiting the Pioneer 1000 SRT. I've played on both the regular 1000 and the 1000 SRT. They're awesome. I liked them. That is definitely one that I was considering. So if I got to the point, because Denon's not making anything right now that I like. I don't want to go to the Prime 4. I don't like the Prime 4. So I either have to stick with the 7000, which has been discontinued. The 8000 has not been discontinued, but I'm sure it's going to be soon. So either maybe I switch to the 8000, which I don't have a problem with that. It's a good solid controller too. Or switch to another brand like Rain or something. And like I said, I really think over the next 6 months, we're going to see a few more come out as we get back into the mix of things. I think that companies are going to start finally going, okay, people now have some money to spend. They have gigs. They want to do this. Then they'll start releasing some stuff. So, yeah. Sometimes people do not use bigger controllers and all the options they have. If they use the functions it comes with, bigger can be better. Yeah, crossfaders are components. Yeah, it's important to have that. Don't forget to like. Oh, yeah, thank you, Robin. Don't forget to like, share this thing, tell people about it. Like I said, also give me, as I said at the top of the hour, give me ideas what you want for the shows. I said that we're gonna be trying some things out. First Wednesday of every month, I'm gonna do an interview with someone, like I did earlier this month with John Holman. The second Wednesday of the month, I'm doing a music show on Twitch only. The Disc Jockey News' Twitch channel. So it's twitch.tv/Disc Jockey News. And over there, I can actually play songs and talk about versions and show mixing things without worrying about getting the show cut off halfway through because of copyright stuff. So the second Wednesday is going to be Twitch only for a music show. The third Wednesday, which is this, is going to be topic night. So if there's a topic you want, let me know, and I'll do a topic night on it. And then the fourth one is open question night. It can be about absolutely anything. 100 different questions if you want to ask. It doesn't even have to relate to anything. You could ask me, what's my favorite peanut butter? You know, whatever you want to do, open question night. So that's the fourth one of the month. And if we have a month that has 5, I don't know, I'll roll the dice and come up with something then. So that's what I'm doing. Let me know if you like those. Let me know if anybody you want me to interview, let me know. Any topics for topic night you want me to do, songs for the other stuff, let me know. What's the Twitch channel? For the Disc Jockey News one, which is the second Wednesday of the month, it is twitch.tv/Disc Jockey News. One word, Disc Jockey News. And mine for the mix after this is twitch.tv/DJ Michael Joseph. So those are the two. I think the show the other night is still on Twitch. I don't know. No, it's not on Twitch. It was moved to the DJNTV Education. I think it's DJNTVeducation.com. And if it's not that, just go to the DJNTV website. And there's a link there to go to the education one. And you can sign up for free and get to see that video in the free area. But if you pay in the insider area, there's a buttload of more educational videos there. And I mean a lot on every kind of topic you could imagine. But if you sign up in just the free sign up, you can watch all of those shows afterwards on that because we move them over there after the live Twitch. So that's what's there for. Joe says, thank you. You're welcome. Too bad the Rain 1 platters are not battle style. Yeah, somebody was talking about the battle style. Battle style just kind of means that the things are moved. If you see a turntable like that sets like this, let's say it sets like this, then your tone arm would come this way on it, but battle style moves it so, like for me, it would move it that way and put the tone arm away from me up there as opposed to putting it the other way. So it would be in back as opposed to coming down this way. I think you get the picture. But that's battle style. But again, it's a switch off because it's not necessarily made for battle styles. I think this is a controller for people who want to mix, like the motorized platters, but don't want to carry around a 30-pound something or other. The good thing that I found out is that I have an old case that I got in the 90s, no joke, that had American DJ CD players in it. I can fit the Rain 1 in that, and that case is only 15 pounds. So with all the cords and everything in that case with the Rain 1, I can be walking around with the Rain 1 in a case for 40 pounds, right around 40 pounds. My case, the hard case for the 7000, is 56 pounds that I'm carrying around. So I'm kind of happy about that. So we'll see. Yeah, they talked about the mirror deck versus identical, typical versus atypical. I like ones that are not like this. I want the pitch to be, I want it to match this. So this one with the pitch over there, I want this one to have the pitch on the inside. That's what I prefer. They did a study on that and asked people, 40% like it the original way, where each, like, it's two matching ones, not mirror opposites, it's matching. 20% no, it was 30% can take it either way, and the rest said that they like this way where it's mirrored. So that to me means the majority of the people are okay with it being the other way. I like it the other way, to the point where with this being here, like, so I'm used to doing this with the pitch and nudging with my left hand. So when I go over here, I sometimes have to cross over because the nudge and the pull are not the same as me nudging and pulling with this hand. I have to switch because I've done it that way for 33 years. So I like them that way. Prefer that. Yeah, also on the Rain 1, the right platter is a little bit closer. It isn't a perfectly balanced thing. It's kind of like two set there with a mixer in the middle. And just because that platter is not in the center of that right unit, it's pitched off to the left a little, which could be a problem. But I don't think it's going to be as a big problem as having a controller like this and doing a scratch and hitting your pitch with your finger every time you're doing a scratch. It's not going to be that. So I'm happy about that. So we'll see. Last time, any questions coming out last time? Like I said, I want to try to finish shorter than an hour tonight because I want to get set up for the other thing. And when I'm over on the other thing, you guys can come and ask me questions about the setup. Watch it. Like I said, it's not going to be me mixing like a madman, just simply because I cannot do things quickly on here. The other night, as you can see, I put a dot right there because I kept grabbing that for the headphones, which is over here, and going, gee, my headphone, I'm going, why is it going on the headphones? And I'm cranking the main volume all the way up because there's no difference there between them. So I put a dot at least tonight until I can get another top for that to maybe try to switch that out. I don't know. But it's going to be much slower. So I have time to answer questions and talk about stuff. So join me over there. Right around 10, it may be a little bit after 10 Eastern time, whenever I can get everything set up. Because like I said, I'm tearing this setup down here because it's going to be on the desk. That's the whole idea, is decks on the desk. And I'm actually going to have, if I can get it working, have the overhead cam on this tonight, because you've seen me do it with the 7000, but it's going to be on this. So you can see me pressing buttons and doing little things, like this, like I'm typing. This to me is, this isn't much bigger than an Xbox controller. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. I know it does not have up faders. That screws me so bad. But the DJ to Go 2 does have up faders. DJ to Go 2 Touch does have up faders, if I'm correct, but you lose other things. That's the only thing with that, is that you lose other things. So I'm a person, I use up faders a lot. When I'm mixing on this, I have to pretty much do the crossfader the whole night, and that's not necessarily 100% my thing. So it's all getting used to something. And like I said, I'm glad that I did that for 2 hours, so that in the future it does not scare me at all, that if I had to use that to finish a gig, I could. And that was the purpose of that. So any other questions here before we go? And again, remember, next week is open question night, and then we're back at the top of the March with an interview. So if you have anybody you want me to interview, let me know. And if you want to be interviewed, maybe, if you're watching this and you think, hey, I would make a good show and a good topic, you have an idea, let me know. But any other questions left in the chat? I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. It was an awesome night. We had people all over the place tonight. I appreciate that. Seeing back over here to this, lots of people talking. All right, so was I getting all these questions? Someone asked, do you recommend a medium-sized controller? What would be your choice, medium-sized controller? It all depends. If you want the Pioneers, those are good. The MC4000 is good, but again, it's discontinued. It's not saying that it's going to work and continue on with that. I think, and a lot of people disagree with me on this, I think a lot of the Newmark mid-sized controllers, like the FX Platinum, are good medium-sized controllers. I think they are. Some people say they're not, but I think they are. That's just something on me. So medium-sized controllers, any of those, the mid Pioneers, the mid Hercules, not the mid Hercules, the mid Newmark, and the Denon MC4000 are all good mediums. And if you want the 6000, it's a medium, small to medium, that kind of works there too. So there's a lot there depending on what you need. You have to figure out how many inputs you need, how many channels you want. Do you want to have buttons, a lot of cue point buttons to work with, or do you don't use the cue point buttons, that sort of thing. So Somebody said they actually did a party with it. Yeah. Like I said, I was hesitant on this. I bought it for the studio to do, editing and stuff. And then I did the thing the other night, and that made me feel really good because of the fact that if I had to, push comes to shove, I know I could. And that's what I love there. I really appreciate that. Can you do a show on top 10 or 20 songs most played? See, that's tough for me because I DJ in college bars and stuff, so stuff gets rotated in and out pretty quick. So I have to every single week make sure I have the new songs because someone that weekend is going to ask me for anything that drops inside the Billboard Top 40, inside the YouTube Top 40, inside the Spotify Top 40. Those I have to have. So for me, it's a lot of that and changes a lot. So I could do a show on stuff that I play a lot, but I don't think it's going to be a good representation of what everybody plays because I honestly do believe my style is a little different than most DJs. So maybe we could get someone in to talk about theirs. Maybe that could be a good interview. Howie said he would like to interview you, MJ. Absolutely, Howie. Whatever you want. Absolutely. You just say when, and I'll be there. I'll pay for my own ticket to get there, which will be over the internet. So, is the Rain 1 the only controller with the scratch bank? Here's what the thing is. If you use Serato, the only scratch banks, and I don't know if the scratch bank works on the Rain 1. Don't quote me on that. I think it does. But if you use Serato, scratch bank is the S9, S11, S7, and the 12 and the 72. That's it. But if you use Virtual DJ, you can have scratch bank on anything. I can put scratch bank on this if I want, but I didn't bother mapping it in there because a scratch bank isn't going to do me any good in here. It's just not. But the 7000, I have a scratch bank set up exactly the way I want it, so that when I switch to scratch bank and hit the sample, it starts playing. So I can immediately sample, scratch, sample, scratch, sample. So all I'm doing is hitting the hot points with my thumb and then switch back. So. Yeah, Howie. So just let me know. Absolutely, if you really want to do that, absolutely. Maybe I can have you on my show, and because Howie and I talk about nerdy electronic stuff. How we tear stuff apart. That maybe could be a good topic. Howie, you and I talk about how many times do we fix things before we replace them, and that could be a thing about doing your own repairs, sending stuff out to get repaired as opposed to buying a new one, that sort of stuff. So whatever you want, Howie, let me know. But everybody else, thank you so much. It's about 10 to the hour. Hopefully in 10 minutes I can get everything set up and we'll start the mix over there. And again, it's going to be laid back. Don't expect anything crazy, but it's going to be nice. You can ask some questions and different things like that. I'm going to be able to talk to you and stuff like that. It's not going to be... I'm not making it this grand thing. People aren't going to come and watch just to be amazed by mixing. It's going to be, some music and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely. So, any other questions? I appreciate you all. Again, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Disc Jockey News, different times, different shows. A lot of our stuff is on demand. So, go to youtube.com/Disc Jockey News, and all the shows we have are there to watch. Great ones that come up each and every single part of the week. We have several that come out. I do several. If there's new gear, I have special short shows that only run 1 to 3 minutes on the equipment reviews and stuff like that. I do a whole series on Virtual DJ. I just put a new one out last week for Virtual DJ, how to find and delete duplicate files with Virtual. So there's stuff like that. So go check those out. You can find me on any social media as DJ Michael Joseph. I'm on all of them as DJ Michael Joseph, except for Facebook. It's DJ Michael Joseph the number 1 or DJ Michael Joseph the number 2. It's still DJ Michael Joseph everywhere. So. As always, as I end my show, I want to encourage you guys to look out for each other. It's this world and people are just getting so angry at each other. And I honestly believe that the only people that are going to help us is us. So I want to encourage you, take a deep breath someday. And if you're able to help someone, you don't have to go across the world. You don't have to give up large amounts of money. If you just stop and help someone, that can make a big difference in someone's life. And I'm talking about hold a door open for someone, or if somebody drops something, pick it up for them. Simple life politenesses can go so far into helping someone who's maybe having a bad day to get through the day and not flip out on someone else. So we all have done it. We've all been there. So just treat others like you want to be treated. So until next time, next week, open question night. Come with your questions. Lots of questions about absolutely anything. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. All right.